Right now, world leaders are making decisions in secret rooms that could change everything. But there's a 3,000-year-old psalm that predicted exactly what they're doing, and it reveals their ultimate fate. Most Christians skip Psalm 2, but by the end of this video, you'll understand why this psalm terrifies those in power and why it should give you unshakable peace. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 3 things that will change how you see current events forever. First, why nations are rebelling against God right now, and how Psalm 2 predicted it perfectly. Second, God's shocking response that involves laughter. Yes, the creator of the universe actually laughs at human rebellion. And third, the choice you must make that determines whether you're part of the rebellion or part of the kingdom. Stay with me because what I'm about to reveal about verse 4 will blow your mind and give you peace when the world feels out of control. Before we dive in, let me ask you something personal. Have you been watching the news lately and feeling like the world has lost its mind? Leaders making decisions that defy common sense. Nations turning against everything that used to be considered moral. People calling good evil and evil good. Have you ever wondered, God, where are you in all this chaos? Are you even paying attention? Well, Psalm 2 is God's direct answer to that question. And friends, his response is not what most people expect. This psalm was written by King David about 3,000 years ago, but it reads like today's headlines. It's about nations in uproar, rulers conspiring against God's authority, and people thinking they can rewrite reality itself. But here's what will shock you. This isn't a psalm of worry. This isn't a psalm of fear. This is a psalm of divine confidence that will change how you view every news report you see. Stay with me because in a few minutes, I'm going to show you why God actually laughs at what's happening right now. Let's dive into verses 1 to 3, and I want you to listen with fresh ears. Why do the nations conspire and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth rise up and the rulers band together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, "Let us break their chains and throw off their shackles." Did you catch that word? Conspire. This isn't describing some future event. This is describing human nature itself. This is the story of every generation, including ours. Look around you right now. Nations conspiring. Check. Leaders banding together against God's ways. Check. People saying, "We don't need God's rules." Double check. But here's what's fascinating. They call God's laws chains. They call his commandments shackles. Sound familiar? Don't tell me how to live. I'll decide what's right and wrong. We've outgrown your outdated morality. But stay with me because here's something that will blow your mind about the Hebrew language here. The word for plot in verse 1 is the exact same Hebrew word used for meditate in Psalm 1. Think about that. While the righteous meditate on God's law day and night, the rebellious meditate on overthrowing God's authority day and night. Two kinds of people, two kinds of meditation, two completely different destinies. Which meditation is filling your mind? God laughs. Not a gentle chuckle, not a patient smile. The Hebrew word here suggests mocking laughter, the kind that says, "Are you seriously trying this right now?" Picture this scene with me. All the world's most powerful people, presidents, prime ministers, billionaires, tech giants, plotting in their secret meetings, thinking they're so clever, so untouchable, so powerful. Meanwhile, God, who spoke 100 billion galaxies into existence with a single word, is looking down from his throne and laughing. It's like watching ants trying to build a tower to overthrow the sun. It's like watching a toddler throw a tantrum at a parent who could pick them up with one finger. It's like watching rebels with water guns trying to overthrow the ocean. But remember what I said about this being a psalm of confidence, not fear. This isn't cruel laughter, friends. This is the laughter of absolute sovereignty. This is the laughter of someone so secure in his power that human rebellion looks like exactly what it is, utterly futile. And here's why this should give you peace. That same power that laughs at earthly rebellion is the same power that protects his children. When you see chaos in the world, remember, your Father is on the throne, and he's not worried. But stay with me because the most powerful part is coming up. What happens when God's laughter turns to judgment? But then verse 5 comes, and suddenly the laughter stops. He rebukes them in his anger and terrifies them in his wrath, saying, "I have installed my king on Zion, my holy mountain." Friends, Listen to me very carefully. God's patience has limits. His laughter turns to judgment. And when it does, even the most powerful people on earth will be terrified. But here's where this gets beautiful. Verses 6 to 9 introduce us to the king. I will proclaim the Lord's decree. He said to me, "You are my son, today I have become your father. Ask me, and I will make the nations your inheritance, the ends of the earth your possession." This is Jesus, friends. This is the ultimate fulfillment of this song. The one who looked defeated on a cross is actually the king of all creation. The one who seemed powerless is actually the one all power belongs to. The one they thought they killed is actually the one who will judge them all. And one day, maybe sooner than we think, every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. Every president will bow, every dictator will bow, every tech billionaire will bow, every person who ever called God's ways chains will bow. The rebellion will end, and the king will reign forever. But here's what's crucial, and this is where it gets personal for you. Because verses 10 to 12 aren't just about world leaders, they're about you. Therefore, you kings, be wise, be warned, you rulers of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and celebrate his rule with trembling. Kiss his son, or he will be angry and your way will lead to your destruction. Kiss the son. That's ancient language for submit to his authority. It's not about fear, it's about recognition. It's about saying, you are the king, and I am not. So here's my question for you today, and I need you to answer honestly. Are you part of the rebellion, or are you part of the kingdom? Because there's no middle ground here. Right now, in your heart, you're either plotting against God's ways, living like you're the king of your own life, calling his commands restrictive, making your own rules. Or bowing your knee to King Jesus, surrendering your will to his, finding freedom in his authority, trusting his ways even when they don't make sense to you. And listen to how this psalm ends. There's that word again, blessed. The same word that started Psalm 1. God's trying to tell us something. While the rebellious face destruction, those who take refuge in the king find blessing, protection, and peace, even when nations rage, even when the world feels out of control. The same God who laughs at earthly rebellion is the same God who offers refuge to anyone who will bow their knee. The same power that will judge the nations is the same power that saves everyone who calls on his name. So here's your choice today. Will you be part of the rebellion that God laughs at, or will you be part of the kingdom that will never end? If you've been living like the king of your own life, today is the day to step down from that throne. If you've been calling God's ways chains, today is the day to see them as the path to true freedom. If you've been part of the conspiracy against God's authority, today is the day to join the kingdom of his Son. Right now, I want you to comment below and tell me, which verse from Psalm 2 hit you the hardest today? Was it God's laughter, the warning about judgment, or the promise of blessing for those who take refuge in him? And if you need prayer for any area where you've been rebelling against God, relationships, finances, career decisions, anything, share your prayer request in the comments. I read every single one, and I'll be praying for you in tomorrow's video. If this psalm gave you peace about what's happening in our world, hit that like button and share this with someone who needs to hear that God is still on the throne. Tomorrow, we're diving into Psalm 3, and you're going to discover what to do when it feels like the whole world is against you. David wrote this when his own son was trying to kill him, and it contains the secret to sleeping peacefully in the middle of your worst crisis. Don't miss it. Your life is being transformed one psalm at a time. King Jesus reigns, nations rage, but those who take refuge in him are blessed beyond measure. See you tomorrow for Psalm 3. Until then, remember, you serve the King who makes world leaders tremble, and that same King calls you his beloved child. Stay blessed, stay in the kingdom, and I'll see you tomorrow.